are the uses of coal, how coal causes pollution, uh, how it leads to global warming. Indirectly, it leads to global warming, burning of coal right now. Then later on, we'll be learning about petroleum also. What is petroleum? How do we obtain petroleum? How petroleum was formed? Huh? What are the different products you can obtain from petroleum? Getting it now? What is the chemical and physical properties of petroleum, and what are the physical and chemical properties of coal right now? So these are the things which we are going to be dealing in this chapter. So first of all, before we begin, you guys, you know that coal and petroleum are important resources right now. They are different type of resources on earth. For example, air is a resource, water is a resource, land is a resource right now. Then sunlight is also a resource. In our day-to-day life, we use a large number of materials for our basic needs. Some of these materials, they are found in nature, whereas some of them are man-made. What materials are found in nature? For example, you have air, water, sunlight, soil, or coal, petroleum, natural gas, and then you have different type of minerals. These are the important materials that are found in the nature. So they are called as natural resources, isn't it, guys? Further, natural resources are also categorized into two types. One type of resource will not get exhausted in a very, very long period of time. Hmm? Well, another category of natural resources, if we continue to exploit them, if we continue to use them at an alarming rate, their uh, their availability will be going down. They will get exhausted. So we have natural resources. Yes, I named some of the natural resources. What were they?
Air, water, sunlight,
Soil,
Good. Sunlight,
coal,
coal, petroleum. Right now. One more, natural gas. Now, further, these resources are categorized into two types right now. Also, you should understand this thing also. Like in general, what does the term resource mean? How do we define a resource? Yes, you guys tell me how you would be defining the term resource.
so like anything that is used for survival of human being is called resource.
Very good. Right now. Sundus, please correct your name. Okay. So anything that can be used, which can be used for our, which can be used by humans, right now. So that is called as a resource. So all the natural resources is further categorized into two types. The first category is that of inexhaustible resources. Now, can you guys tell me which of these resources are going to be inexhaustible?
sunlight and air, water, yeah,
Hmm. Right.
soil,
Sunlight, soil,
Soil, sunlight, good. Soil is there, sunlight, water. You forgot one, air. Right now,
yes,
air
sir,
is also
air.
there. Air is also there. Now, these are inexhaustible resources, but keep in mind that they are getting polluted also. Apart from sunlight, these resources can be polluted there, although they are not going to exhaust, but the quality can be deteriorated. Like the quality of sand, soil or water or air is getting deteriorated. So they are getting polluted right now. So the term inexhaustible here, what does it mean? It simply means which cannot be used up completely. Like a human, like given all the 8 billion peoples together, they cannot consume the 75% of water on earth. They can't use it up completely right now. So these are apart from water, like sunlight. You know, just a tiny fraction of sunlight reaches on Earth. You have just a very tiny fraction of sunlight reaches on Earth, and yet that is very more than sufficient. If I were to tell you how much of sunlight is received by the Earth, hmm, it is somewhat like 0.000000005%, not even 1%. So only a small part of the solar energy reaches the atmosphere and the Earth. Nearly, even out of this now, out of this also, nearly almost half of it will be absorbed by the atmosphere of the Earth. Getting it or not, guys? What I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
So sunlight is unlimited. It is unlimited. It is not going to be depleted no matter how much of it we are going to use. Right now. Now you might have heard in news, like if you follow some astronomical pages or astronomical channels on YouTube, you'd find some very interesting theories and ideas, like um, how some scientists would say that we would be installing solar panels on moon or some other planets. We would be harnessing the sunlight's energy, and we will transfer that sunlight energy from the moon or from other planets back to Earth if there's an energy crisis on Earth. Getting what I'm trying to say, right? So normally sunlight, air, water, soil, these are inexhaustible resources. Their supply is unending. Then you have exhaustible resources. What are the exhaustible resources, guys, out of these natural resources?
So coal, petroleum,
Hmm.
natural gas.
Natural gas, good. So we have coal, petroleum, then you have natural gas. So these are likely to end after some time. Exhaustible means something which can be used up completely. Like humans can, in the next few decades, they will consume all the coal resources, all the petroleum resources on Earth right now. So thereby they are exhaustible. So that is the thing. Okay, now. Now you should understand one more thing. Like resources like coal, petroleum, and natural gas, they are not formed in a day. They were not formed in a day. It took millions of years for the formation of coal, petroleum, and natural gas. Right now, so we would learn later on in the class, like millions of years ago, what happened due to some natural calamity, like it could be volcanic eruptions or earthquake or flood. Vast amount of plant and animal life were buried under the soil or buried under the water, and gradually over the period of millions of years their body started to convert into fossils right now. So we should know right now about fossils also. Before we continue further in the class, let us understand what are fossils, and then question would be, why do we need fossils? Okay, now why fossils are important. So fossils are basically, they are the remains of prehistoric plants or animals that were buried under the earth millions of years ago. How do we define this? Again, keep this thing in mind. Do not confuse fossil with fuel. Fossil and fuel both are slightly different from each other. Getting it now, guys? So right now we are understanding about fossils also only. They are the remains of. Also, I wanted to say one more thing. Right now, after the class, the PPT of the previous chapter I have readied. It is ready. I will be sending it after the class. But as of this chapter, coal and petroleum, you guys would like to make like live notes in the class, or in the same manner, uh, once the chapter has been finished and then you will be making notes. Yes, you guys have any suggestions? Chakrika, Gauri, Khadija, and Sundus?
Sir, I'm fine with live notes.
Live notes. What about others?
So can we write like after this chapter finished?
After the chapter is finished. See, usually what the
Sir,
problem is,
actually,
no?
I've made
Uh-huh.
sir,
You
I
have
actually
made
made
notes.
notes like for the revision for the exam.
Okay,
I
you have made
completed the
notes.
chapter yesterday, so
Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, what about others? Uh, Khadija, Sundus, what about you guys? Okay, do one thing for those of you who haven't not made the notes, no, they can make live notes in the class. I think normally what happens is students usually don't write notes once the chapter is finished. Okay, so for those of you who want, they can make live notes. Okay, so I'm leaving it up to you guys. So fossils, they are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals. They are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals that were buried under the earth millions of years ago. So those are the different fossils. Okay, have you guys heard of some examples of fossils? Do you guys know of some examples of fossils? Yes. Like what type of fossils do you see today normally? Like you would have seen fossils of dinosaurs, huh? Different type of species of dinosaurs. Fossils are basically preserved in what form? Like fossil will include the bones, huh? It would be like they would be imprint of that animal on the stones. So stone imprints of animals, huh? Getting it what I'm trying to say? Or there could be fossil fuels stored in the form of hair or bones. So that is what a fossil fuel would be looking like. So you have several examples of fossil fuels. Then again, there would be different types of fossil fuels also. You know, some of the fossil fuels would be found stored under sedimentary rock. Hmm? Some of the fossil fuels would be found stored under the sedimentary rock. Some of it would be found stored in the ice in the polar regions. So fossils are also going to be of different types. Okay, who will tell me? Who will tell me? What do we call the study of fossil? The study of fossils is called as what? It is paleontology. Okay, na? Paleontology. So those of you who didn't learn about this thing, please write this thing in your copy. Paleontology is the study of fossil fuels. Okay, na? In this, you would be studying about fossils of plants, animals. Not just that, but you'd be studying about fungi also, bacteria also. Right now, so it is the study of fossils of plants, animals, even the bacteria and fungi. Now you might think like how we are going to study about fossils of bacteria or fungi. Huh? Anyone thought of this question? How we would be able to study about them? How they would be preserved?
yes.
Hello. You guys are not curious enough, huh? You should have think in this manner also. See, basically, say that you have a fossil of, let's say, woolly mammoth. Fossils of woolly mammoths are still found right now. One of the recent species, one of the last living woolly mammoth, the fossil of that woolly mammoth is found today. It is available right now. So you would see that whatever animals or plants were conserved, so in their body you would find different type of bacteria and fungi. So, along with the body of plant and animal, bacteria and fungi were also preserved in time. They were also preserved in time, and that's how we get to study about them. So, for example, if you were to have a fossil of some organism that were living almost 1 lakh year ago, so whatever type of bacteria were at that time, you would get to study about those bacteria also. So isn't that very interesting thing, right?
Yes.
Then let's learn about fossil fuels. First of all, you'd be learning about fossil fuels, then we would be taking up this question. What are fossil fuels? So when you learn about fossil fuels, here you would be learning about coal and petroleum mainly, and natural gas. They are the fossil fuels. So the natural fuels that were formed from the remains of living organisms that were buried under the earth a very long period of time, very long ago, they are called as fossil fuels. So dead remains of plants and animals they converted into fuels. Like dead remains of all the plants converted into coal, dead remains of animals, different type of animals converted into petrol and natural gas. So which we are now using for obtaining energy for various purposes, right? So fossil fuels are basically the they are natural fuels. Also, you should know that fuels will also be of different types, one that will be man-made, one that will be natural. So right now we are learning about fossil fuels, which are natural fuels. The natural fuels which were formed from the uh, dead remains of plants and animals very long ago. So you have examples of coal. Coal were formed from the dead remains. Plant dead remains only. Petroleum and natural gas that were formed from the remains of animals, particularly the aquatic animals. And this particularly you will be having aquatic animals, right?
So, but the natural gas, it is said that the natural gas is formed only with vegetable matter, right? So, like the plant matter under the sea.
Natural gas is formed only under the
No,
correct.
sir. Natural gas is only formed because of the plant matter under the sea.
Okay, talking about
Is
natural
that
gas
true
now.
or is it? Yes, sir.
See, natural gas is formed from the plant remains. That is true. That is true. It is formed from
Yes,
the
sir.
but not just from the plant remains. The uh, the true thing is that the correct thing is that it is formed from the remains of both plants and animals. Right now, since in the oceans you'd be having aquatic plants also, you'd be having aquatic animals also. So we say that particularly the petroleum is formed only from the dead remains of animals, aquatic animals, fishes, different type of fishes. Talking about natural gas, it would be made from both the remains of aquatic plants and animals. Is that clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the thing. Good. Now the question comes: why do we need fossil fuels? What is the need of the fossil fuels? Okay. The most important thing is that to obtain energy. Right now, you know that even today, uh, most of the industries are dependent upon coal and petroleum. Even today, most of the industries are heavily dependent upon coal and petroleum in order to carry out their day-to-day operations. Right? Whether it be generation of electricity, whether it be generating heat for the industrial purposes. So thereby, coal and petroleum still serves the major. They are still the major fuel used in the industries. Getting it, guys? That is one of the use. Another thing is that later on you'd be learning in the chapter that from coal and petroleum we obtain certain byproducts also, like we obtain some other products from coal and petroleum also, like for example different type of medicines, different type of cosmetics, or you have different type of moisturizers, they would be made from petroleum. By refining of petroleum you can obtain different type of products right now. For example, kerosene, where does it come from? Diesel or different type of lubricating oils, where does it come from? These are coming from petroleum now. Like lubricating oil is not a fuel in itself. It's not a fuel, but it is coming from a fuel. That is petroleum. You guys getting my point?
So can you
That is,
repeat?
I was saying that why the question is why do we need fossil fuels? The question says that um, why do we need fossil fuels? The obvious reason is that first thing is that fossil fuels like coal and petroleum and natural gas are the natural fuels that we use to produce energy, right? So their first job is to produce energy. Next thing is that from coal we can obtain different other products also which has got different uses. Like later on you would be learning in the chapter, from coal you'd be able to obtain different products like this. You'd be able to obtain coke or coal tar. For example, coal tar would be used in manufacture of roads. In metaling the roads it is used. So here you are using it to metal the roads, but it's completely different from the nature of fuel now. The purpose of the fuel is to produce energy, but here you have obtained a product from coal, that is coal tar, that will be used to metal the roads. You guys getting my point now?
Yes, sir.
So first and foremost use of fuels is to provide us with energy. Second thing is that we get essential products out of them also. So that is the thing. Now we are going to learn about this thing also, but first of all now let's learn about coal. Hmm. Let's learn about coal, then we'll get to that part of the chapter also. So the coal is a fossil fuel which is formed from dead plant matter over millions of years due to heat and pressure. So look at this image. This is a swamp, let's say 300 million years ago. Before the dinosaurs were there, so many groups of giant plants died in the swamp. Swamps, you guys getting it on what a swamp is? Now, later on, before 100 million years ago, you see that dirt started to accumulate over the remains of dead plants. Then an ocean also developed over it right now. So over the millions of years, the plants were buried under water and dirt. This gradually led to accumulate it. This gradually led to increase in pressure and heat. Pressure and heat. So gradually, over the course of millions of years, they were converted into coal. Another thing is that the coal went through a process called as the carbonization. Coal went through a process called as carbonization. Getting it, guys? We will be learning about that also. Another thing is that there will be different agents working on the coal. You see, the decomposition of there would be different agents working on the dead remains of plants. I meant to say. So they are converted into coal via different agents of nature. One thing we learned that you have got two factors. One is pressure and heat. So that is also acting in this. Another thing is that they are converted into coal via the action of some biological agents also. Some biological agents will also be there. Like there could be some certain microbes that would be helping them to convert into coal. So over millions of years, coal is formed through different biological and geological processes on dead and decaying plant matter. One question you should have asked me, like, what is the source of heat? Where does heat come here? Huh? You guys thought of this?
Cells are from the
From the
core of the earth.
core. See, good. If you were to study about this structure of Earth, you have core, you have mantle, and you have crust. Right now, the outermost is crust, mantle. Then you have this layer. The mantle is this one. This is core. Crust is solid, mantle is semi-liquid, and outer layer of core is liquid while innermost layer of core is solid. So right now our focus is about mantle. M-A-N-T-L-E, mantle. This is semi-liquid and it receives the lava coming from the core. Mantle receives the lava that is coming from the core. So intense amount of heat is there inside the core. You guys know what is the temperature of core of Earth? Any rough estimate regarding this? Almost it is more than 5000 degrees Celsius. If you were to talk about the temperature of core, how much is it? More than 5000 degrees Celsius. That is the temperature of core. So that's a lot of temperature. If I were to talk about what is the pressure here, pressure is very much. It's way too much. It's way too much. Pressure is one of the unit to measure pressure is atmospheric unit. If I were to give you like you say that right now you are under 1 atmospheric pressure. You are facing 1 atmospheric pressure. You guys ever wondered about this thing? Like you have got a large volume of air above you. If you were to see this thing, you have a large volume of air above you. The atmosphere uh, is exerting pressure on your body. Why is it that our body does not explode? Ever thought about this?
Because our body also has pressure from the blood.
Exactly. You see, our body is also exerting pressure in the outward direction. Another thing is that then you'd say that okay, if the person dies, you know how our body is exerting pressure. The flow of blood inside our body generates pressure. So you would say that okay, once the person dies, the heart stops to function, thereby the body should explode. No, the reason is that pressure on our body acts equally at every direction. It acts in a uniform manner. So your head, your different parts of your body, all of it experiences the same amount of pressure right now. So distribution of pressure is uniform. That's why our body does not gets exploded. It does not explode. Anyways, we went somewhere else. Let's get back to the discussion we were having. So we were talking about pressure. You'd find at the core the pressure would be million times as compared to the surface. For example, it would be more than 3 million, around 3.6 million atmosphere. 3.6 million atmosphere. Those of you who are getting why I'm using this atmosphere is a unit of pressure. Okay, now is that clear? You will learn about it in geography in detail. Now, as you gradually move towards the crust, pressure will be decreasing. Pressure will start to decrease, but still, if you were to talk about the inner layers of Earth, like this mantle, look at this part, for example. Say that here the cold reserves are found. This will still be experiencing lots of pressure now. You guys getting my point? Chakrika, why? Chakrika, Khadija, Sundus, and Gauri.
Yes, sir.
Getting now? Okay, so core is experiencing this much of pressure. As you move outward, pressure will start to decrease, but this part of the Earth is also experiencing pressure where coal reserves are found. Apart from that, while in the course of formation of coal, we would see that it went through different geological process. It's not like that all of a sudden it went very deep inside the Earth. It's not like all this plant would have gone to deeper layers of Earth in just matter of days. It would have taken millions of years now. So gradually, microbes, different type of earth forms would also be acting upon it. So that's why we say that over millions of years, coal is formed through different biological and geological processes. Talking about the geological process. So when we say geological process, here we refer to the heat that is coming from the earth right now and the pressure. Also, you guys should know that mantle is continuously moving now. That's how you can understand it in this manner. Like our crust can be divided into different plates. Our crust can be divided into different plates, and you can understand it in this manner. that these plates are actually floating above the mantle. You're getting my point? Say if you are standing over something, say you are standing on a floor and that floor is continuously moving. So will you be able to stand stably? Will you be stable?
No.
No, sir.
No. So that's why you see that our crust is divided into different plates and these plates are continuously moving. So that's why you see that wherever these two plates will be colliding with each other, no, their mountain formation will happen. Wherever two plates come in contact with each other and collide into each other, a mountain formation would happen. Sometimes a volcanic eruption will also take place. Volcanoes will also be formed. Hope you guys are able to get this.
Yes, sir.
So over the course of millions of years, was the structure of Earth same?
No,
You
sir.
guys would have learned in geography that once millions of years ago, all the continents were joined. It was a giant piece of giant continent called as Pangea. How many of you have heard of this? Hello,
So
you guys have
we
heard of
done a
Pangea?
project on this.
Yes, sir.
Hmm? Later on, what happened? This Pangea started to split. It is split into Gondwana and Laurasia. Okay, na? The upper part was called as Gondwana land. Lower part, southern part was called as Laurasia. So there were some geological processes also happening on Earth. Continents were, okay, I guess there. So thing is that continents were colliding. Continents, this giant piece of land that is Pangea, it is started to separate. They at the same time you would see that there would be several volcanic eruptions. So inside the Earth also several things were going on. So different geological processes and biological processes also help in the formation of coal. So hope you guys are getting it. Talking about the composition of the coal. So coal mainly consists of carbon. Coal mainly consists of carbon, but there could be some other impurities on present inside the coal. Okay, na? There are impurities present in carbon also. Keep that thing in mind. Right now. So for example, sulfur can be found inside the coal, hydrogen, oxygen, right now. Or for example, silicon can be found inside the coal. So that is the thing. Hope you guys are getting it. Now, what do we call this process of conversion of the dead remains of plants into coal? That process has been called as carbonization.
Urbanization.
Right now, very good. Now, see what is basically happening over here. You can understand it in this manner. Say that you have a plant body. I'm trying to give you a rough idea of what carbonization basically means. Say that this is a plant body. Now, in the plant body, namely, we know that plant or whether it be we humans, all of us are made up of hydrocarbons. Compounds of hydrogen and carbon is present in our body. Compounds of nitrogen, etc. Different things are present in our body. But mainly, you would find that living organisms are made up of hydrocarbons. Hydrocarbons, meaning that compounds of hydrogen and carbon. So while this plant was buried under the layers of earth, what would have happened? It started to lose water. Due to the intense heat, water will start to evaporate from it now. Getting it now? So thereby, water is lost from this plant body. Gradually, certain microbes will also be acting upon it. So there would be loss of some other elements also from this. So gradually, what we are seeing, we observe here, that carbon will be concentrated into this plant body, but other things like water or some other minerals will be lost over the course of millions of years. That's why you see that there's a term carbon in carbonization. There's this word carbonization, carbon in carbonization. You guys are getting my point, what I'm trying to say. So that is the process of carbonization. So it's a basically so very slow process also. It's not a very fast process, right now. So in this carbonization process, whatever kind of biomass like the plant waste you'd be having, it would be converting into carbon rich content. It gets acquired such a form in which uh, uh, um, elements like oxygen is lost, hydrogen is lost, and other minerals are also lost. And what basically remains is majority concentration of carbon in it. Hope you guys are getting it.
Yes, sir. Sir, I didn't get.
Not getting it. See, basically, what is happening over here? When you look at a plant body mainly consists of carbon. Also, you guys know, like plants are uh, known for maintaining the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen gas in the air. Plants are good storehouse of carbon. Plants are good house of carbon, a good storehouse of carbon. If there's an industrial area and if you surround that industrial area with lots of plants, so carbon emission in that area will be reduced. Pollution caused by carbon emission on in that area will be reduced because plants store lots of carbon inside them. Is that thing clear to everyone? Now I was saying that once the plant dead remains went through millions of years of biological and geological change, what happened? First thing, due to heat, components like water will be lost now. Obviously, there would be some certain biological agents also. So the plant body would went through some chemical changes also. So basically, what is happening? Many things are lost from the plant body, but what remains is a high concentration of carbon in it. Although there could be some impurities in it also, like as I told you, sulfur could be found in some amount. Getting it, my point. Some other minerals could also be found in some amount. So there would be impurities also in carbon, but main concentration would be of uh, carbon. Is that clear to everyone or not?
Clear, sir.
Let us now learn about composition of coal. So the main component will be what? Mostly it will be made up of carbon. Okay. So mostly, guys, is there some background noise from my side? Please do let me know. It is made up carbon. Apart from carbon, there would be some proportion of some additional elements also. Like there could be some amount of hydrogen, some amount of nitrogen, or some amount of oxygen or sulfur can also be found. But the proportion would vary from one coal to another. For example, you have different types of coals. You have uh, as per the amount of carbon found in a coal, we have also classified them into various groups. We have peat, you have anthracite, you have lignite, you have bituminous coal. Okay, na? So there you would find also that some other components which I'm going to list down. For example, you have hydrogen, sulfur, you have nitrogen. It is seen that oxygen is also found in the coal. Okay, na? These will be found, but these will be found in the varying proportions. Varying proportions. For example, if you were to talk about, let's say, anthracite. If I were to talk about anthracite, anthracite is a very good quality coal. Anthracite is the very good quality of coal. Okay, now. So in this, almost 86 to 97% carbon is found. While if you were to talk about peat, in peat, compared to anthracite, a very less concentration of carbon will be found in it, while impurities like hydrogen and sulfur, nitrogen and oxygen will be found in higher amount. You guys getting my point or not? Please do let me know if you're not getting it. Gauri, you got it? Khadija,
Yes, sir.
Sundus and Chapika.
Yes, sir.
Getting it now?
Yes, sir.
So that is the composition of coal. Hope you guys have understood this. If you guys have any other questions so far, please do let me know. Now let us learn how coal is a source of energy. Okay, now let us learn about that. Later on, we'll be learning about how coal is mined from earth and what are some of other uses of it. So say you have coal, the major component in it is carbon. It would be burning in the presence of carbon dioxide or oxygen. It
Carbon
burns
dioxide?
it burns in presence of oxygen now. Carbon dioxide would be extinguishing it now. What will be formed? Yes,
Carbon
obviously,
dioxide and heat. So
very good. Carbon dioxide and heat. Now, what if you were to burn it in absence of oxygen? You want to burn the coal in absence of oxygen, then what will happen? Yes, anyone, any idea? Have you guys heard of the gas called carbon monoxide?
Yes.
yes, sir. It is present in coal gas, right?
It is present in
Coal gas, right?
coal gas. We will have to look at a composition of coal gas. I think it is found in it, but
Okay.
majorly coal gas is made from methane. You have methane in it. A less amount, slightly less percentage of carbon monoxide is found in it. Okay, no, but it is found. Okay.
So coal gas has what are the elements again? Hydrogen in.
Yes, it has. Repeat again.
What all compositions? I mean, like, what all elements does it have again? Carbon,
Uh,
hydrogen, or something like.
it has got methane. Methane is found in the coal gas. Okay, now apart from, as you said, carbon monoxide is also found in it. Right now, apart from it, there would be some other elements also. Okay, now once we get there, we'll be discussing about it in detail. Okay, now
Yes.
let's learn about how coal will burn in absence of oxygen or in a very limited quantity of oxygen. Right now, so coal in absence of oxygen would burn to give you heat. Right now, plus apart from this, it would form a product called as charcoal. Getting my point? So in this manner, charcoal is formed. You guys got my point now?
Yes, sir.
So that is the thing. Now, charcoal is produced in such a manner, although it's not like that you will be immediately, you would be giving it a very high amount of heat. You would be keeping the temperature low and it will go through a very slow and gradual process. And you will cut off the supply of oxygen. So hope you guys have understood this, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, coal is
Sir,
important because, yes,
is charcoal exhaustible or inexhaustible resource?
charcoal. See, since it is being made from coal. So yes, it is exhaustible resource. Okay, now it is exhaustible resource. Also, you know that it can be made from wood also. What many people would do now? They would collect lots of wood. Let's say they have collected lots of wood like this. So they would collect it and make a heap of it, and then they will cover it with mud. Try to understand the process. They would cover this wood with mud, and they will leave a very small opening at the top, and here from this opening they will be burning it. They will burn it from here. They will burn it, and from this opening smoke will start to come. And here what you are seeing, that wood is being burned in absence of oxygen, or in a very limited, like we are cutting off the supply of air right now. So we have allowed a very small amount of accessibility to air right now. So in this manner also charcoal is prepared. So most of the charcoal that you see in the market, it is prepared in this manner. They would be collecting heaps of wood, cover it with mud, and light a small fire and leave a space for smoke to come out of this. And after a few hours, almost they will leave it to burn for just for full one day. Next day, they would be removing the layer of mud, and then this is the readied form of charcoal. Now the charcoal is ready. So in this manner also it is prepared. Is that clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We were learning about coal as a source. Coal is a source of energy. This is what we learned in it. Now also, guys, just give me 1 minute. There's a repeated call I'm receiving. Just give me one. Okay. Yeah, sorry for the interruption. Yeah, so I was saying that coal is a source of energy. Now, sometimes when coal will be burned in a limited amount of oxygen or air now, so thereby apart from production of carbon dioxide gas, thereby you will find that carbon monoxide gas will be released, right? Carbon monoxide gas is released. So note this thing down. When coal is burnt in limited supply of air, it gives carbon monoxide. You write carbon monoxide as capital C and capital O. And this is toxic. This is very toxic in nature. If someone were to inhale it, huh? If someone were to inhale a high concentration of carbon monoxide, the person might die. That's why you might have heard of news like this. Like if someone were to lit a fire in a closed room, if you were to lit a fire in the closed room, so someone were to do that, so there are high chances that the person might die, because in a limited supply of air, carbon monoxide gas would accumulate in the room, and that is very toxic. Another thing is that it has got a very high affinity towards the hemoglobin found in your blood. You guys should know this thing, that in your blood you have got hemoglobins. Hemoglobins are there. So how oxygen is transported to different cells in your body? Whatever oxygen you are inhaling, it binds with hemoglobin. It binds with hemoglobin and forms oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin. While hemoglobin has got higher affinity towards carbon monoxide. Hemoglobin has got hemoglobin has got higher affinity towards carbon monoxide. So if someone were to inhale that now, also keep this thing in mind, it has got an affinity like somewhere around 3 to 400 times more than that of oxygen. So say if someone were to be sitting in this room, so thereby this hemoglobin will react with carbon monoxide to form carboxyhemoglobin. Carboxyhemoglobin. Now in this situation, what will happen? Actually, the cells were in requirement of oxygen, but now carbon monoxide has binded with hemoglobin. So this is actually preventing now the binding of oxygen, because all the hemoglobin now will start to bind with carbon monoxide. So there would be no space left for oxygen right now. You guys getting my point or not? So how it will be harming your body? How it will be harming the body? It will limit the supply of oxygen to cells, and in this manner, the person might die also. Is that clear to you guys or not?
Yes,
That's
Yes,
sir.
why
sir.
Clear.
it is
Yes, sir.
advised that whenever if there's a fire in the room, or if many people have got a fireplace in their room, huh? So make sure that the ventilation is good in the room right now. So that is the thing. So hope it is clear. Next we are going to learn What is coal mining? How do we mine coal from the earth? Okay, no? So you guys tell me, what are the different ways of mining the coal from the earth? How do we mine
There
coal from earth?
there are two types of mining, right? One is deep mining and the other one is surface mining.
Correct. Okay. Look at this image over here. This one is deep or open mining.
Surface mining, open mining.
Correct. So this is open mining. So in open mining, you can see that in a circular pattern, basically. Um, open mining or surface mining, basically in this, you'd be using large machines. First of all, the topsoil would be removed, right? The topsoil and layers of rock would be removed to expose the layers of coals, to expose the coal reserves right now. So in this manner, it is basically being done. So in a circular manner, they would keep on digging, and also they are creating the pathway also to come out of from the surface mining. Then you have another type of mining also. It's called as deep mining or tunnel mining.
Mining.
Deep mining, or whether we call it as tunnel mining. So in this, basically, first first a well-like structure, or basically a big hole would be made in the ground, and let's say that here you have got the coal reserves. Here we have the coal reserves, so we would dug a tunnel towards that coal reserve, and via the, also you will find that there would be just like a railway track is there, a small track would be made up towards the towards this coal reserve. You can look at this right now, a track has been made. So loads after loads of coal would be brought, it would be dug from there, and it would be mined from there, and would be dug towards this hole. And actually, this